Suddenly very busy.
What's going on?
There is something going on, but we just don't know how to explain it in human terms.
Okay, let's just start with this. Is it something that's going on in a specific realm?
It's going on in the universe of the souls.
Something going on in the universe of the souls. Is it going throughout the whole universe of the souls or just part of the universe of the souls?
It's rippling out.
It's rippling out from the universe of the souls.
No, it's rippling through.
Rippling through the universe of the souls. Okay. Did it start somewhere else?
No.
How close did the rippling come from where Earth is at?
It's in the same galaxy.
Okay, something from the galaxy of Earth. Is it a Is it?
No.
No, it's not natural.
There was a partial collapse.
Okay. Was it collapse around specific worlds?
Yes.
Okay. What were the worlds?
They were plotting.
They were plotting. Were these worlds
to harm Earth?
Okay. Were the cultures of these worlds? Were they like a single culture or multiple different cultures?
It wasn't a culture.
Okay.
They were it was the souls that had inhabited the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But the planet had died.
Okay.
But the souls were still there.
Why were these souls not already brought to God?
Because it just happened.
Okay. The planet just died?
Yes.
Was it killed? Or did it react? That was its natural...
It committed suicide.
Okay. So the soul of the planet is going back to God and going to be fine.
Yes, the soul of the planet is going to go back to God. Yes. The souls that were on the planet were, and it wasn't just one planet either.
Yes.
It was a whole solar system.
A solar system basically committed suicide, and so
tried to stop the souls that were living on them.
Would we have any understanding as to who these souls are?
No.
There's no knowledge of them. They've not interacted with Earth at all.
No. But they were planning a conquest.
Are they of that strong a conquest of a conquering nature?
Yes. But it was a sudden conquering nature.
Hadn't had it previously?
Exactly.
How did this sudden conquering nature come up?
They didn't know about conquering, but then they got like a transmission from someone who had been conquered.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, we want to do that as a whole.
As a whole, they responded, okay.
We want to become conquerors. Because those conquerors who had dealt with the ones who sent the transmission, they'd already been dealt with.
This is what I call propaganda.
No, it's not propaganda.
It's not propaganda.
The ones who were being conquered, who sent the transmission, were the signal for help.
So there was a call for help, and rather than being moved with compassion to want to help them,
they wanted to be like the conquerors.
They wanted to, okay. What has happened to the ones who were being conquered?
Oh, they've already been saved.
They were already saved. That's
the ones who were doing the conquering. That race have already been dealt with.
They're already dealt with. They don't exist in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
Okay. From a linear perspective, was this this conquering? Did it happen a long time ago, or was it fairly recently?
Oh, a few hundred years ago.
Okay, so it was fairly recent from your perspective, but from Earth's linear perspective, it was a while ago. But they just got the message.
Yes.
So it was an old message they got, and that inspired them to want to...
As a race. And it rippled through their solar system, so everyone in that solar system decided to work together to try to conquer everything.
Was it in any way, that rippling, attached to the Anunnaki?
No.
Oh, wait. Did these solar systems, did they have a strong connectedness of thoughts?
No.
Okay.
They had been Draco worlds.
Okay. So were they Draco-like?
No. These were the ones who were put there after the Dracos had been dealt with.
Oh. Okay. Could these ones have been influenced by the energy that the Draco had?
No, because the worlds themselves refused to let the Draco energy influence anyone. And when they saw it starting to happen again, that's when the worlds
They said, "Forget it."
commit suicide.
So it was like a protection.
Yes.
They were protecting everyone else by not allowing this to go further.
Yes.
But the souls of these planets.
Uriel is actually dealing with that right now.
Yeah. When these planets committed suicide, was it on a physical level, spiritual level? Did the world actually like disintegrate, or something happen to them, or?
It's hard to tell.
It's still so fresh and such a mess.
Yes.
You don't know what's going on.
And we can't
See through all the chaos.
We can't. We don't have a good way to tell to separate them.
Okay.
Separate from the physical and spiritual and all that.
Is there a physical planet still in those places?
We can't
You
tell.
can't tell yet.
Because they basically merged the spirit, the soul, the physical all together, and then committed suicide.
So they did this in a way so that these ones who were going to decide to turn into dark,
yes,
wouldn't have a platform with which to do it.
Yes.
Now these souls, what has happened to them?
When the worlds collapsed, they did it in a way that would trap the souls temporarily
In there, so they couldn't escape.
Yes, and spread more trouble.
And then that was sent in, so that way.
And they sent a message to God. So we're now cleaning up those souls.
So God has like bubbled all those places, so no one can escape. Wow.
And this just happened. And that's what we felt.
And this was within our own galaxy.
Yes.
From a certain universal perspective, that's very, very close to this happening.
Yes.
The souls that have been put on these Draco worlds, where were they originally? Were they originally
from? It's a bit sad.
Okay.
Because they were some of the ones who have been trapped by the Anunnaki. Remember those?
Yes. I don't think those souls should go on to any planets yet.
Yes. They seemed to be ready.
Yes.
It was the first wave.
It was the first wave.
And they were doing great until the transmission hit.
Yes.
And then that opened up what had been done to them, and they want to do it to others.
That is a pattern that is common here on Earth, where a child that was abused grows up and becomes abusers because they see the abuse as a way of being power and safe.
Yes.
And so,
there's still a lot of them that are still being held back.
Yes.
But these ones jump ahead.
Yes. They need to go through a very, very slow process.
Well, remember, we said it was a couple 100 years. Because we don't do it literally. We don't do it linear.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was going to not say it, but you know how that works.
Yeah.
I think that these ones need to be in a similar type of situation as, you remember how the baby weaver, who had been created for a negative purpose, but the divine light, these need to be in a very, very intensive divine space, not just a oasis, because the distortions, even when the distortions are gone, there are inclinations toward paths. And it's like I said, it's very common that a child who was abused, when they grow up, even here on Earth, the people who had their ancestors were slaves. There are things that were done to them, their families, when they were slaves, that the patterns have been held over, even though they haven't been slaves for well over 100 years, and they haven't had these masters doing these things to them, but the patterns passed on, the slaves did it to each other. The parents did it to the children, and the children passed on. It's become a rutted thing.
Yes, and we are working on that.
I know you are, and so I understand how that happened. But I will say this: there is a moment of decision.
Yes.
And there's a moment where you decide to cut off empathy because...
Yes, and that is when those worlds committed suicide.
So I understand it, and I'm going to tell you this. Do not feel that you have in any way failed these souls.
Okay.
And this is for everyone who has been working with them. Do not feel that you have failed them. What they experienced while how they were treated by the Anunnaki has what made this such a strong, deep, complex distortion.
Okay.
It is loving that they do not exist anymore, going to the singularity, their energy returns to God, and then God can create what He wants to from a place of light and wholeness, because there was too long that had been distorted. Not saying that every single soul that's been in that situation.
No.
But
a lot of them are showing great progress.
Yes, because I was a child who grew up in an abusive situation, and I have not chosen the path of to be abusive. So there's a lot of, don't beat yourself up about it.
Okay.
If a child grows up and they become the abuser,
that was their choice.
That there at some point along the line there was a choice made. There was a choice where when you start to cause harm to someone else and you choose to not feel empathy towards them, that's when the choice hits. And they made those choices. And those planets are very wise, kind, honorable planets to have made this choice to do this thing to help save any that these could have created more problems for.
Yes.
Because having been under the influence, they would have picked up, knowledge of stuff of the way he had done, and they would have followed a similar type of path. And it's going to be good for the planets now because their souls are with God. They can get really cleaned up, and they can have a fresh new start and not have to have all this stuff piled in and overwhelming them.